The 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in the year of 1918 marks the ending of the most destructive war. We celebrate this day to honor all of the men and women who have served in the armed forces and in any of the wars that the U.S. fought in. Their service has granted our country the freedoms and the liberties that we often take for granted. Today we remember these heroes that have sacrificed for the sake of our country. So at 11 o'clock tomorrow, please take a moment of silence to remember and honor all of our fallen soldiers and the ones that are currently fighting for our freedom.
Now on to the interviews with members of our school community.
We're here with Mrs. Pillar, our Gilbert School librarian, and we're here to talk about one of her family members who served. Who has served?
My father served in the Korean War.
How long did he serve?
He was actually in the Army for 3 years.
Do you know why he joined?
Well, honestly, he was from a really small town. He was from New Milford, Connecticut, and there weren't a lot of jobs at the time, and he was working in a laundry, in a bleachery actually, I think it was called, and it was really hard and terrible work, and he thought maybe the Army might be a little bit better.
What was his experience as a veteran?
After he served?
He came.
As a Korean War vet, when they came home, there wasn't a lot of fanfare. That war wasn't very popular at the time, and when they came home, they just went back to work. It was like they had never even been gone. There were no congratulations. They weren't vilified or anything like the Vietnam War vets, but they really weren't recognized for their service at all. And many of them didn't talk about their Korean War service for a long, long time. I know my dad didn't.
Why do you think it's important to honor our veterans?
They keep us free. They were the men who fought for us and stood up for us and were always ready to take care of us no matter what was going on in the world. And it takes a lot of guts to do their job and to be that dedicated. And I just am so proud of them and so admire them and so grateful for them.
Thank you, Mrs. Pillar.
Oh, you're welcome, guys. Thanks.
We're here with Miss Fretzel, and we're going to be talking about her family member who served in the military. Who served?
My uncle.
Your uncle?
Yeah.
What branch did he serve in?
He was in the Navy.
How long did he serve for?
That's a good question. I just found this information out recently. So he served in World War II, and he served one term, and then he went home and he married his wife and had a baby on the way, and he got called back. So he had 2 more years on top of that.
Wow. Do you know why he wanted to serve?
Yeah, because Hitler was dominating, and he basically wanted to serve his country and to stop what was going on. He was a very patriotic man.
What was your father's experience like when he came home?
Oh, my uncle. Okay. My father has to do with this. My uncle came home and he had shell shock, and my dad was 8 years younger, so his experience was like one of really pretty much shattered nerves. So my dad, being the prankster, went behind the couch where he was sleeping in the living room and rattled a paper and scared my uncle half to death. My father almost got killed on that day, but it really greatly affected him because he was almost killed. Yeah, he bent over to help a man on board ship and who had fallen, and in that instant the shell was going to hit him and he missed it. So, but just that traumatic experience took a long time for him to, and he really never wanted to talk about it after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important that we should honor our veterans?
They made great sacrifices for us, and as you guys will find out when you read war books, especially on Vietnam, that you can only imagine what they went through, and to do that to save our values and ideals is a noble thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Fretzel.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
All right.
Okay. We're here with Miss Rantham right now, and we're going to talk about some of her family members that have served. Who has served?
My son is currently serving. His wife is a veteran, and 2 of my uncles are veterans.
Awesome. How long has your son been in?
He's been in since he was 18, right after he graduated from high school. So he's on his 12th, 13th year.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Why did he decide to join?
Well, he didn't do that well in high school, and he was looking for options, and he decided to join the Army.
How has your son's experience been in the Army so far?
Real good. He's currently a sergeant first class, and he's a Green Beret. He's currently living over in Germany with his wife and 2 kids.
That's great. Tell me about your uncles.
Both uncles served during Vietnam. One actually was in country during Vietnam. The other one, it was at the beginning of the war, so he actually served his time in Texas.
Why do you think it's important to honor our veterans?
Because they give a lot for us. Not just, there's the obvious, they risk their life and limb, but they're away from family. They're not there for a lot of the...
It's the sacrifice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Ryan.
You're welcome.
We're here with Mr. Totten, who served in the military. Why did you decide to serve?
Mostly because I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school, but I knew I didn't want to just sit around and work, part-time jobs. So I was really just compelled to go out there and do something, and the military seemed like a natural next step.
What branch did you serve in?
I was in the Navy. I was a firefighter on an aircraft carrier for 4 years, and then I did 2 years in the Army. I went through officer candidacy school, but then I hurt my neck, so I left that.
That's awesome. What was your experience like when you got home?
When I got home, as soon as I got home, you mean like after I served,
Yeah.
or my full time was over, or like whenever I went home?
About what your experience was like while you're in the Navy too.
Yeah, no, I would go home once a year. Out of the 4 years I was in the Navy, I probably spent like at least a year and a half underway, like on the water. So I would go home probably once a year for about a week or so. And yeah, no, it was weird, like having experiences and then going back and seeing how everything was just the same when you went back home. So it was kind of an eerie sort of feeling going back home.
It's definitely a sacrifice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Totten.
All right, thank you.
Why do you think it's important to honor our veterans?
I think it's important to honor our veterans because they sacrificed a lot for our country.
They risked their lives for us so that we can live peacefully here in America, and keeping our families safe. And yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Because they risked their lives for us.
Well, my grandpa was a veteran, and he turned out to be a really great guy. He fought, I think it was like 30 years ago, and he fought for our country, and it was a great thing he could do.
We enjoy some unique freedoms in this country and human rights here that are like no other country, and we owe it to our veterans that we can enjoy those.
Because they sacrifice so much to keep the country safe.
I think it's important to honor our veterans because of everything they've done for our country.
All right, because our veterans fought and protected us, and it's important that we respect and honor them because they're doing it for our safety.
For the safety of the civilians, and it is very important to honor those who protect us.
Well, as a veteran's spouse, I know what it's like and the work that they put in and the sacrifice, not just for me and my children, but also for the community. There's a lot of service that's provided behind the scenes that we are not aware of. And as a result, we're comfortable, we're protected, and they go above and beyond the call of duty.
Thank you.
I think honoring our veterans is important because they've done so much for our country, and we just take all their pride and everything that they do for us, and because we can't do anything much and then they're doing that for us, that's such a huge thing that they do for us, and it's just amazing what they do.
It's really important to honor our veterans because all of the rights we have today are because of what they fought for, and a lot of them have lost a lot because of their sacrifices, and I think we should repay them for them.
Thank you.
Because they served for our country.
Because they fought for our country and they deserve a lot,
Because they fought for our country and they gave us the freedom we have today.
Well, it's important because some people don't realize the sacrifices they make, leaving their families and going out of the country and risking their lives for the importance of ours.
Well, I think it's important to honor veterans because they do well for our country.
Why do you think it's important to honor our veterans?
Because they sacrificed a portion of their lives so that we can live ours.
Thank you.
Veterans Day is an important national holiday which celebrates veterans of the United States military, regardless of which war they have fought in. It is important to recognize Veterans Day in order to make sure that we honor these brave men and women who have served our country. Veterans are people who have spent their lives from a few months to many years serving our country in the military. This is very important because without veterans, we would not have the freedoms we often so carelessly enjoy. Today, we thank our veterans for the service and sacrifice they have made for the freedoms that we currently have, and more importantly, freedom of our country.
Thank you for your service, for your sacrifices, for everything.